Hello and welcome to Decoding Tech Investments with highlights from Enterprise Strategy Group's 2024 Technology Spending Intention Study. I'm Christian Perry, Principal Director of Sponsored and Syndicated Research at ESG. So in 2024, organizations are moving forward with extensive digital transformation and technology modernization plans. And in ESG's annual Global Technology Spending Intentions Study, we found that the vast majority of organizations plan to increase or maintain spending in 2024 compared with 2023. And in fact, organizations that are further along in the digital transformation journey will have more aggressive IT spending plans than their counterparts, with a focus on cybersecurity, generative AI, and cloud first strategies. So, Melinda, cybersecurity continues naturally to be a top priority in enterprise budgets, with organizations placing particular attention on zero trust, multi factor authentication, and security information and event management technologies. What stood out or surprised you in this year's study?
Yes, cybersecurity is the top spending initiative, and it shows the biggest plans for increases in spending. We see this because security is important for any technology adoption or investments. You need to invest in security to ensure protection of your data, your customer data, your assets, and resources as you invest in technology to scale or grow. There's a lot in this report, so I'd urge folks to check out the full study. It shows the top investments across different areas, including cloud security, network security, security operations, identity security, and application security. So highlights of high percentages of investments across these areas. The investment areas topping the list are the old standards. So vulnerability management and pen testing were at the top, which to me really shows the importance of security posture and hygiene, checking for vulnerabilities and remediating issues, but also investing in pen testing to ensure nothing falls through the cracks. So you're proactively testing and finding vulnerabilities or issues with your applications before the hackers can find them and get into those weaknesses or exposures. Some other interesting findings: cybersecurity is at the top of the list for introducing IT complexity, and it also tops the list for Gen AI investments. So this really shows the need to drive efficiencies to help utilize staff to make them more efficient and to build strategic programs to efficiently manage security risk and reduce technical debt. Also of note, improving cybersecurity and resiliency is at the top for justifying IT investments. I look at technology adoption plans and the results of this study across the board, and I'm always thinking about the cybersecurity implications because it can be tempting to adopt technologies that will increase productivity and scale without factoring in the security needs. So it's good to see that security is a top consideration, and it's really a key differentiator for that technology adoption.
So, not only a critical ecosystem, but a very busy ecosystem as well. We also found that even though a rising percentage of organizations are adopting a cloud first strategy for deploying new applications, there's also a continued rise in organizations that consider both on premises and cloud environments equally before deploying applications and other resources. Scott, why do you think that is?
You know, so there's several key takeaways you can take from that those couple statistics there, Christian. I think the first one is, before we get into the insights there, is very few people are on premises first. It's only about 16% in the study, or about 1 in 6. Now, when we think about what's driving cloud first, a lot of that makes tremendous sense. We saw in the study about 35% of organizations identify as cloud first, and often that's driven by the transformational benefits that emerge with cloud adoption. In other studies, we've seen benefits in improved time to value, better flexibility and agility, improved access to innovation, are all benefits that organizations achieve through cloud adoption. And probably not surprisingly, digital mature organizations in our study are far more likely to identify themselves as cloud first. A majority of digital mature organizations identify themselves as cloud first, actually. With that being said, over the past several years, we've seen the percentage of organizations that identify as cloud first start to kind of plateau or level off. And a lot of that is just driven by this increased focus on essentially just letting the application decide. So we saw in this study in particular, 37% of organizations say, look, we consider on-premises and public cloud technology equally when deciding where to put new apps. Now, a lot of that is driven by several kind of big key trends. One of which is, as we've seen across the industry, as cloud maturity has increased, as organizations get a better sense of what the public cloud can do, and probably more accurately can't do, they get a sense of which apps tend to perform really well in the cloud, and maybe which apps, really the value isn't there and maybe don't warrant the migration. So that's kind of one of the big trends that is driving it. In addition to that, we've also seen just challenges in overall cloud cost visibility and predictability have driven an increased adoption of cloud cost tools. And so what this has done is put more emphasis on pre-planning, to where they evaluate the app, they look at the app, they look at their data set before doing a migration. And the outcomes of using some of those tools is organizations saying, hey, look, maybe we pivot our strategy, maybe we delay migration, maybe we do it, maybe we decide to refactor rather than do a lift and shift, or maybe we just keep it on premises. So those are a couple big factors. Other things that we see is even among cloud first organizations, when they think about when they identify as, hey, these are reasons why we tend to keep apps on premises, things like data sovereignty play a big role. So better understanding the data and the data needs are something else that tends to evolve why organizations maybe move applications to the cloud or keep them on premises. Ultimately, what we've seen is organizations are getting a better sense of how to best use all the technology at their disposal.
Thanks for that, Scott. And with distributed cloud and with the merging of these environments, at least from a usage perspective, it sounds like it's not so much cloud first or on premises first, but rather application first, and then organizations will move from there.
Absolutely.
Christoph, in the information management realm, investment plans are centering heavily on data governance, with significant spending planned for these technologies by nearly half of organizations we surveyed. So, along with that focus on data governance, compliance, and risk, we're also seeing continued prioritization on generative AI across nearly every aspect of enterprise business and IT operations. What is driving those investment plans?
So, there are really multiple things at play here. And what we're seeing is really the confluence of a number of trends, and I would even say markets, that's actually driving significant activity in terms of adoption of technologies like AI across the board, but also in terms of M&A activity for technology. So let me start by a simple concept. I'm going to follow the data. I'm going to start with data protection. And I will just tell you that what the trends show this year is that data protection is very much top of mind. And specifically, data governance, risk, and compliance are actually one of the first areas that people mention when they're thinking about protecting their data assets. I think it's something like 41% of respondents who said that was the key set of technologies that they use. But of course, disaster recovery, ransomware protection are still very much top of mind for data protection. And that leads me to this notion of, okay, well, once you've protected data, what are you going to do with it? And there is this movement to really use data and reuse data. Data is an asset. So if you follow the data, you get into intelligent data management. And sure enough, what do we see? To your point, 44% saying that data governance is definitely a top initiative when it comes to data platforms. What's interesting about that is that there is no AI, and certainly no Gen AI, without good and solid data management. So as you see, there is really a thread here. Now, if you double click on the emergence of Gen AI, it is something that is going to be in production in the next year. Vast majority of organizations are telling us that. But also, more importantly, there are so many use cases associated with Gen AI. We see it appearing across the board in many type of technologies, very much like, well, cloud support 10 years ago. Now it's Gen AI support, and pick your technology. But the use cases that have emerged this year in the research are really around customer platforms, around cybersecurity, and of course, there's just a basic idea that you want to leverage your data to make it a business asset. So, at the heart of everything, to really conclude here, is really this notion that you cannot get good reuse of data without very strong data governance, and that's why it's such an emphasis for us this year.
Thanks for that, Christoph. And thanks to Melinda and Scott as well for your great insights today. And thanks to our audience for joining us. If you'd like more insights from this study, visit enterprisestrategygroup.com.